The spaceship Harmony of Stars moved slowly through the dark space between worlds. Inside the metal walls, Dr. Lee Bin-Woo walked down the bright hallway with a datapad in his hands. He was a tall human with black hair and kind eyes. His white lab coat was clean and neat. He had been working on this ship for 2 years now, studying the most dangerous animals in the galaxy. The ship belonged to the Galactic Council. It was big and white, with many rooms for science work. Different alien species worked together here. They all wanted to learn about the scary creatures that lived on faraway planets. Bin-Woo stopped at a large metal door. It had many warning signs on it. Red lights blinked around the edges. The door was thick and strong. Behind it was their newest catch. "Computer open viewing window," Bin-Woo said. A section of the door became clear like glass. Bin-Woo looked inside and saw the creature they had captured 3 days ago. It was huge and black, standing 12 feet tall. It had 4 arms with long, sharp claws. Its skin looked like metal armor. Yellow eyes glowed in its dark face. This was a void stalker from the death world of Kethmaran. The creature sat in the corner of the white room. It did not move much because of the sleeping drugs they gave it, but even while sleepy, it looked very dangerous. Its claws were as long as Bin-Woo's hand. They could cut through steel like paper. "Still studying our guest?" Bin-Woo turned around. Kim Nari walked up to him. She was a strong woman with short black hair. She wore a black uniform with many pockets. As the ship's security chief, she carried weapons on her belt. Her job was to keep everyone safe. "Yes," Bin-Woo said. "Look at those muscle groups. The way its arms connect to the body. This creature is built for killing." Nari looked through the window and made a face. "It gives me bad feelings. We should not have brought it here." "Science requires risk," Bin-Woo said. "We need to understand these creatures. They have killed entire colonies. If we can learn how they think and move, maybe we can help people. Fight them." Heavy footsteps came down the hallway. Park Do-hyun appeared, wiping oil from his hands with a dirty cloth. He was a short, wide man with thick arms. His job was to fix the machines on the ship. His blue work clothes had many stains on them. "The power is running well," Do-hyun said. "But I am worried about the force fields around that thing. They use too much energy." "The fields must stay strong," Nari said. "One small problem and we are all dead." The 3 humans talked while the alien crew members stayed far away from this part of the ship. Most aliens would not even walk down this hallway. They were too afraid. Commander Veltar was different. The tall, lizard-like alien came to check on the prisoner every day. His green scales moved and changed color when he was nervous. Right now, they were light blue, which meant he was worried but trying to be brave. "Dr. Lee," Veltar said in his deep voice, "the other crew members are asking questions. They want to know why we keep this creature alive. They think we should kill it or send it away." Bin-Woo looked at the commander. Veltar was 8 feet tall with long arms and sharp teeth. His people, the Saurids, were strong fighters. But even he was afraid of the Void Stalker. "We have never had a chance to study a living Void Stalker before," Bin-Woo explained. "All the other ones died when they were caught. This one is special. We can learn from it." Science Officer Quindal clicked down the hallway on 6 thin legs. She looked like a giant bug with a hard shell. Her people, the Hyvax, were very smart, but not very brave. Her shell was gray-green, which meant she was scared but curious. "The creature has not eaten in 3 days," Quindal said in her high voice. Its body temperature is dropping. Maybe it is getting sick. Or maybe it is getting ready to die, Nari said. That might be for the best. No, Binwu said quickly. We cannot let it die. Not yet. We need more data. Dr. Morgeth came floating down the hallway in his water suit. He was from an ocean planet. His blue skin was wet and shiny. His people, the Aquarians, were known for being very smart and careful. He never went anywhere without his water-filled helmet. The creature's brain scans are very strange, Morgeth said through his translator. Its mind is not like other animals. It thinks and plans. It is smart, maybe as smart as us. This made everyone quiet. A smart creature that could tear through. Metal was much more dangerous than just a strong animal. That settles it, Binwu said. We need to interact with it directly. We need behavioral data. All the aliens stepped back. Their faces showed fear and shock. Interact? Veltar's scales turned bright yellow. You mean go in the room with it? Not at first, Binwu said. We start small. Maybe we remove one force field. See how it reacts. Study its movements when... It is not so sleepy. This is madness, Quindal clicked. No living thing has ever been in the same room as an awake void stalker. They are perfect killers. That is why we must learn, Binwu said. How can we protect people if we do not understand what we are fighting? Nari put her hand on her weapon. If we do this, I want extra security, more guards, more weapons, and a quick way to kill it if things go wrong. Du Hyun nodded. I can set up emergency power systems. If the main power fails, backup generators will keep the force fields running. The alien crew members looked at each other. They could not understand why the humans wanted to take such a risk. In their minds, some knowledge was too dangerous to seek. But they had worked with humans before. They knew that humans often did things that seemed crazy, but somehow worked out. Humans had survived on one of the most dangerous planets in the galaxy. Maybe they understood danger better than other species. We will try, Veltar said finally, but at the first sign of trouble, we kill the creature. Binwu smiled. Agreed. Let us prepare for tomorrow. We will make history. As the group walked away, none of them saw the Void Stalker lift its head and look directly at the viewing window. Its yellow eyes were bright and focused. It had been listening to every word they said. The creature's claws scratched slowly against the metal floor. It was no longer sleepy. The drugs were wearing off faster than the aliens thought possible. Soon it would be ready to hunt again, and it had already chosen its prey. The next morning, Do-hyun crawled through a narrow tunnel under the ship's floor. His tool belt clinked against the metal walls as he moved. The tunnel was hot and dark. Red lights blinked on the walls around him. These lights showed him where the power cables ran. "Computer, show me power levels for Section 7, he said. Numbers appeared on his small screen. Everything looked normal. The force fields around the Void Stalker's cell were using a lot of power, but that was expected. Do-hyun had built extra safety systems. Even if the main power failed, 3 backup systems would keep the creature locked up. Above him, the ship worked like always. Alien crew members did their jobs in the clean, white hallways. They tried not to think about the monster sleeping below their feet. In the science lab, Binwu studied videos of the Void Stalker. He watched how it moved, how it breathed, how it looked around the room. The creature was still getting the sleeping drugs, but it was more awake than yesterday. "Look at this," he said to Morgeth, who floated nearby in his water suit. "See how it tilts its head when it hears sounds from outside. It is mapping the ship. learning where everyone is. Morgeth's blue skin turned darker. This creature is too smart. On my world, we have a saying, "The hunter who learns your home will eat you in your bed." Nari walked into the lab. She had been checking the weapon systems all morning. "I have 20 guards ready. Each one has a plasma rifle. If that thing gets out, we will fill it with holes." "Let us hope it does not come to that," Binwu said. Down in the tunnel, Do-hyun found what he was looking for, a junction box where many power cables met. He opened the metal cover and looked inside. Everything seemed fine, but he wanted to check each connection. The safety of the ship depended on these cables working perfectly. He pulled out his testing tool and touched it to the first cable. A small spark jumped out. That was normal. The second cable tested fine, too. On the third cable, something went wrong. A loud crack filled the tunnel. Bright blue electricity jumped between the cables. Do-hyun jerked his hand back, but it was too late. His tool had caused a short circuit. The cables began to smoke. "Warning," the computer said in its calm voice. "Power failure in Section 7. Backup systems activating." Do-hyun quickly tried to fix the problem, but the damage was spreading. More cables started smoking. The smell of burning plastic filled the tunnel. Up in the main part of the ship, lights began to flicker. The aliens looked around nervously. Power failures were dangerous in space. In the prison area, red warning lights started flashing. The computer's voice echoed through the hallways. "Containment field at 60% power, activating secondary systems." Veltar ran toward the prison area, his scales bright yellow with fear. Behind him, other alien crew members followed. They all carried weapons. "What is happening?" Quindal asked, her shell clicking as she moved. "Power failure," Veltar said. "The force fields are getting weak." In the white prison room, the Void Stalker felt the change immediately. The invisible force fields that held it were getting weaker. It could smell the fear of the creatures outside. It could hear their fast heartbeats. The creature stood up slowly. It was 12 feet of pure muscle and bone. Its forearms stretched wide. Its claws scraped against the walls, leaving deep marks in the metal. "Containment field at 30%, the computer announced. Do-hyun worked desperately in the tunnel. Sweat ran down his face as he tried to reconnect the broken cables. But every time he fixed one problem, another cable failed. The damage was spreading too fast. "Come on," he whispered. "Just a few more seconds." In the prison area, all the alien guards pointed their weapons at the cell. Through the viewing window, they could see the Void Stalker getting ready to move. Its yellow eyes were bright and focused. It was no longer sleepy. "Containment field at 10%, the computer said. The creature moved to the center of the room. It looked directly at the viewing window where the alien stood. Then it smiled, showing rows of sharp teeth. "Everyone back," Veltar ordered. "Get away from the door," but it was too late. The force fields failed completely. For exactly 37 seconds, nothing held the Void Stalker in its cell. That was all the time it needed. The creature hit the metal door with all 4 arms. The thick steel bent like paper. Alarms screamed throughout the ship. Red lights flashed everywhere. The aliens ran as fast as they could. Their weapons fired wildly, but the energy blasts just made the creature angry. It broke through the door, like it was made of wood. Nari's voice came over the ship's speakers. "Emergency! Emergency! All crew to escape pods! The prisoner has escaped!" The Void Stalker stepped into the hallway. It was free for the first time in days. It could smell fear, and it liked that smell. This ship was full of soft, weak creatures. It would kill them all. The creature moved fast down the hallway. Its claws left marks on the walls and floor. When it found a door, it tore it open. When it found equipment, it smashed it to pieces. Quindal tried to hide in a storage room, but the Void Stalker heard her shell clicking. It ripped the door off its hinges and reached inside with one long arm. Quindal screamed as the claws barely missed her head. Morgeth tried to fight back with a plasma rifle, but his shots just bounced off the creature's armor-like skin. The Void Stalker backhanded him across the hallway. His water suit cracked, and blue liquid splashed everywhere. Veltar attempted to be brave. He stood in the creature's path with his energy sword ready. "I will not let you hurt my crew," he said. The Void Stalker looked at him like he was a small bug. One swipe of its claws sent Veltar flying. He hit the wall hard and did not get up. The creature continued through the ship, destroying everything it found. It was not just killing for food, it was killing for fun. This was what Void Stalkers did best. Several alien crew members became trapped in the observation deck. It was a large room with big windows that showed the stars outside. They had run there thinking they could lock the doors, but the creature followed them. The Void Stalker stood in the doorway, blocking their only escape. Its yellow eyes looked at each alien in turn. It was deciding which one to kill first. Quindal's shell had cracked from fear. Clear liquid leaked from the cracks. Morgeth's skin was deep purple, the color his people turned when they were about to die from terror. Even Commander Veltar, who had managed to follow them despite his injuries, could barely stand. "Please," Veltar whispered. "We are scientists. We mean no harm." The Void Stalker did not care about their words. It stepped into the room, claws ready. These creatures would die slowly. That was more fun. But then the creature heard footsteps in the hallway behind it. Slow, calm footsteps. Not running like prey should run. The Void Stalker turned around. A human stood in the hallway. It was the one called Binwu. He was not carrying any big weapons, just a metal pipe he had found somewhere. The creature had expected all the humans to run away like the others, but this one was walking toward it. This was strange. Binwu stopped a few feet away from the monster. He looked up at its yellow eyes, without fear. His heart beat steady and slow. His breathing was calm. "Hello," Binwu said quietly. "I have been wanting to meet you." The Void Stalker stared at the human. In all its life, no prey had ever walked toward it. All creatures ran when they saw it. They screamed. They begged. They tried to hide. But this small thing just stood there, calm as still water. Binwu held the metal pipe loosely in one hand. It was not a good weapon against a 12-foot monster with armor skin, but he did not seem to care about that. Behind the creature, the trapped aliens watched in shock. They could not understand what they were seeing. Humans were supposed to be weak. They had no claws, no armor, no venom. They were just soft meat. Why was this one not running? "You are confused," Binwu said to the Void Stalker. "I can see it in your eyes. You have never met anything like me before." The creature's 4 arms moved slightly. Its claws opened and closed. It was trying to decide if this was a trap. Maybe other humans were hiding nearby with weapons. But Binwu was alone, and he was still walking closer. "On my world," Binwu said, "we had creatures like you. Big, strong, with sharp teeth and claws. They thought they were the perfect killers, too." The Void Stalker tilted its massive head. It could understand the human's words through the ship's translator, but it did not understand why this creature was not afraid. Do you know what happened to those creatures? Bin Wu asked. He took another step closer. Now he was only 10 feet away from death. They all died out, every single one. And do you know who killed them? The creature's yellow eyes narrowed. It could smell the human now. The smell was strange, not like fear, more like hunger. We did, Bin Wu said simply. Little humans with no claws and no armor. We hunted them until there were none left. The Void Stalker made a deep growling sound. It did not like these words. It was the hunter, not the hunted. Nothing could kill it, Quindal whispered from behind the monster. Is he insane? Why is he talking to it? Morgeth's translator was having trouble with what came next. Bin Wu's voice changed. It became colder, harder, like metal scraping against stone. You see, Bin Wu said, you are not the first apex predator I have met, but you have never met one of mine. The human began to move in a circle around the creature. His steps were smooth and quiet. The metal pipe moved in his hands like it was part of his body. The Void Stalker turned to keep him in sight. This was wrong. Prey did not circle predators. Predators circled prey. Look at you, Bin Wu said as he moved. 12 feet tall, 4 arms, claws that can cut steel, armor skin. You are built perfectly for killing. The creature preened a little at these words. Yes, it was perfect. But you have weaknesses, Bin Wu continued. All creatures do. That heavy armor makes you slow to turn. Those long arms give you reach, but they get in each other's way. Those claws are good for slashing, but not for grabbing. The Void Stalkers. Growl grew louder. It did not like being studied like this. And your eyes, Bin Wu said. They are built for hunting in the dark, but this room is very bright. You are having trouble seeing clearly, are you not? The creature blinked. The human was right. The bright lights hurt its eyes. Veltar whispered to the others, his heart rate is going down. How is his heart rate going down? It was true. While every alien in the room was terrified, the human was becoming calmer. His breathing slowed, his muscles relaxed. But his eyes were different now. They were the eyes of something that killed for a living. My people, Bin Wu said, still circling, we are not like other species. We did not develop claws or armor or venom. Do you know what we developed instead? The Void Stalker lunged without warning. Its 4 arms spread, wide to catch the human no matter which way he ran, but Bin Wu did not run to the side. He ran forward, straight into the attack. He slid under the creature's reaching arms and came up behind it. The metal pipe cracked against the back of one of its legs. The creature spun around, but Bin Wu was already moving again. The human was fast. Faster than something so small should be. We developed brains, Bin Wu said as he dodged another swipe of claws. We learned to think like our prey, to understand how they moved, where they were weak. The pipe hit the creature's elbow joint. There was a cracking sound. The Void Stalker roared in pain and anger. We learned patience, Bin Wu continued. He was breathing harder now, but still calm. Other predators give up if they cannot catch their prey quickly. But humans? We can hunt for days, weeks. We never give up. The creature tried to grab him with 2 arms while slashing with the other 2. But Bin Wu seemed to know what it was going to do before it did it. He ducked and weaved between the attacks like water flowing around rocks. And we learned to use tools, Bin Wu said. The pipe hit another joint, this time on the creature's wrist. More cracking sounds. Every stick becomes a club. Every rock becomes a weapon. Every weakness becomes a target. The alien crew watched in amazement. Their weak human colleague was fighting the most dangerous predator in the galaxy, and he was winning. But winning was not the right word. The Void Stalker was bigger and stronger. Its claws had cut Binwoo's arms and chest. Blood ran down his skin, but he did not seem to care about pain. "You want to know the real secret?" Binwoo asked. He was close to the creature now, almost, within reach of its claws. The secret of why humans survived when bigger, stronger things did not. The Void Stalker made a sound like breaking glass. It was frustrated and confused. This tiny thing should be dead. Why was it still moving? Why was it still fighting? "We do not know when to quit," Binwoo said. He threw the metal pipe aside. The aliens gasped. Why would he give up his only weapon? But Binwoo was not giving up. He was getting ready for the final part of the fight. The Void Stalker saw its chance. With no weapon, the human was defenseless. It lunged forward with all four arms, claws spread wide. Nothing could escape this attack. Binwoo did not try to escape. Instead, he stepped into the attack. His hands shot out and grabbed two of the creature's arms. His fingers found pressure points that should not exist on such a perfect killer. The Void Stalker's eyes went wide with shock. The human's grip was like steel. And those pressure points, how did it know about those? "Every creature has weak spots," Binwoo said through gritted teeth. "Even you!" He began to squeeze. The creature's arms started to go numb, but it still had two more arms, and they were reaching for the human's throat. Binwoo twisted his body and caught those arms too. Now he held all four of the creature's limbs. The Void Stalker was bigger and stronger, but the human had leverage and knowledge. "On Earth," Binwoo said, his voice getting harder, "we had a saying, you can be the biggest fish in the pond, but there is always a bigger pond." The creature tried to pull free, but Binwoo's grip was unbreakable. The human had found the exact right spots to hold, spots that made the creature's great strength work against itself. "Welcome to my pond," Binwoo whispered. Then he began to pull. The sound that filled the observation deck was unlike anything the aliens had ever heard. It was the sound of something that had never known defeat, learning what losing meant. Binwoo pulled on the Void Stalker's arms with steady pressure. He used his whole body like a machine. His feet were planted wide. His back was straight. Every muscle worked together to create force that the creature could not break. The Void Stalker thrashed wildly. It was stronger than the human, but strength without leverage was useless. Binwoo had positioned himself perfectly. Every movement the creature made only gave the human more advantage. "Impossible," Quindal whispered. Her shell was completely cracked now. "This cannot be happening." But it was happening. The perfect predator was being taken apart by a creature 1/4 its size. The first joint to fail was in the creature's left shoulder. There was a wet, tearing sound. The Void Stalker screamed, a sound like breaking metal. Its left arm hung at a wrong angle. Binwoo did not stop. His face was calm, but sweat ran down his skin. This was hard work, but he had done harder things before. On Earth, his people had killed mammoths with pointed sticks. They had hunted cave bears with rocks and fire. This was just another hunt. "You are wondering how," Binwoo said to the creature. His voice was steady even though his muscles burned with effort. "How something so weak can hurt something so strong." The creature tried to bite him with its sharp teeth, but Binwoo kept his head just out of reach. He had planned for this too. "The answer is simple." Binwu continued. You were built to fight other animals, animals that think like animals, but I do not think like an animal. Another joint failed. This time it was the creature's right wrist. The claws that could cut through steel now hung useless. I think like a human, Binwu said, and humans do not fight fair. The Void Stalker tried a different approach. It threw its whole body forward, trying to crush the human against the wall. But Binwu had expected this too. He rolled to the side at the last second, keeping his grip on the creature's arms. The monster hit the wall hard, denting the metal. You see, Binwu said, breathing harder now. Your people made you too perfect. Perfect for hunting animals. On your world, but your world only had animals. The creature's third arm was failing now. The elbow joint stretched and popped. Black blood began to leak from torn muscles. My world was different, Binwu continued. My world had humans, and humans are the most dangerous game of all. Veltar tried to understand what he was seeing. His people were warriors. They knew about fighting and killing, but this was not fighting. This was something else, something colder and more terrible. He is not angry, Veltar whispered to himself. He is not scared. He is just working. That was exactly right. Binwu worked on the Void Stalker like Do Hyun worked on broken machines. He found the problems and fixed them. Except fixing, the creature meant breaking it. The monster tried one last desperate attack. It brought its massive head down, trying to smash the human's skull with its heavy forehead. But Binwu shifted his weight and let the creature's own momentum carry it past him. Even your head, Binwu said, is a weapon I can use against you. The creature's head hit the floor hard. It was dazed for a moment. That moment was all Binwu needed. He changed his grip. Now, instead of just holding the creature's arms, he began to twist them. The Void Stalker's perfect joints were not built for this kind of stress. They began to separate. Please, the creature managed to say through the ship's translator. It was the first word it had spoken. Binwu paused. For just a moment, the aliens thought he might show mercy, but then his eyes grew even colder. Did you say please to the families you killed? Binwu asked. Did you show mercy to the children who ran from you? The creature had no answer for that. I thought not, Binwu said. Then he went back to work. The fourth arm failed with a sound, like breaking tree branches. The Void Stalker collapsed to the floor. Its perfect killing limbs were now just dead weight hanging from its body. But Binwu was not finished. He moved to the creature's legs, those powerful legs that could leap impossible distances and run faster than ground vehicles. The thing about perfect predators, Binwu said as he worked, is that they have never learned to lose. They do not know how to survive when they are not the strongest thing around. The creature's left leg failed at the knee, then the right leg at the hip. The Void Stalker could no longer move. It lay on the floor like a broken toy. But humans, Binwu continued. We learned to lose a long time ago. We learned to be weak and survive anyway. That made us strong in ways you cannot understand. The aliens watched in complete silence. They had seen many things in their travels through space. They had seen wars and natural disasters. They had seen planets die and stars burn out. But they had never seen anything like this. A human, bleeding from many cuts, taking apart the galaxy's most feared predator with just his hands. You want to know what we really are? Binwu asked the broken creature. We are not the strongest. We are not the fastest. We are not the biggest. He knelt down next to the Void Stalker's head. The creature's yellow eyes were dim now, full of pain and confusion. "We are the ones who do not stop," Binwu said quietly. "We are the ones who never give up. We are the ones who turn every weakness into strength." The creature tried to speak again, but no words came out. "You were the perfect predator on your world," Binwu said. "But this is not your world anymore. This is our galaxy now. And in our galaxy, humans are the apex predators." The Void Stalker's eyes closed. Its breathing became shallow and weak. "Sleep now," Binwu said almost gently. "Your hunting days are over." The creature's breathing stopped. The most dangerous predator in the known galaxy was dead, killed by the bare hands of a single human who refused to be prey. Binwu stood up slowly. His legs were shaky, and his body was covered with cuts and bruises. But he was alive, and the monster was not. He looked at the alien crew members who had watched the entire fight. Their faces showed fear, wonder, and something else, something that might have been respect. "Someone should call Nari," Binwu said calmly. "We need to clean up this mess." 2 hours later, the ship was quiet again. Nari had arrived with her security team to clean up the broken Void Stalker. Do-hyun had fixed the power systems and made them stronger than before. The damaged hallways were being repaired by maintenance, robots. But the aliens were not the same. In the medical bay, Dr. Morgeth treated Binwu's wounds. The human sat quietly on the examination table while the Aquarian cleaned his cuts. There were many of them, but none were too deep. Somehow, Binwu had fought a perfect killer and avoided any serious damage. "How did you know where to grab it?" Morgeth asked. His blue skin was still pale from what he had seen. "Those pressure points should not exist on a creature like that." Binwu winced as the doctor cleaned a cut on his arm. "All creatures are built the same basic way. Joints, muscles, nerves. If you understand how bodies work, you can find the weak spots." "But how did you know it would work?" Binwu was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "I did not know. I just had to try." This answer made Morgeth even more confused. The human had risked his life on just a guess? That was either very brave or very crazy. In the hallway outside, the other aliens waited. Commander Veltar sat on a chair with bandages around his chest. The Void Stalker had hit him hard, but his thick scales had saved his life. Quindal paced, back and forth on her 6 legs. Her shell was still cracked, and clear fluid still leaked from it. "I do not understand," she kept saying. "I do not understand what happened." "What is there to understand?" Veltar asked. "The human killed the creature, but how? We saw the data files. Humans are weak. They have no natural weapons. They should not be able to fight something like that." Do-hyun walked up to them. He had oil stains on his clothes and looked tired. "Maybe we have been reading the wrong data files," he said. "What do you mean?" Quindal asked. Do-hyun sat down on a nearby box. "I have worked with humans for 3 years now. At first I thought they were just clever prey animals. Soft and weak, but smart enough to build tools." "That is what they are," Quindal said. "That is what all the files say." "The files are wrong," Do-hyun said simply. "I have seen humans do impossible things. I have seen Nari lift pieces of machinery. That should be too heavy for her. I have seen Binwu work for days without sleep when there was a problem to solve." He looked at the 2 aliens. "Have you ever wondered why humans explore space? Most species only leave their home planets when they have to, when their world is dying or overcrowded. But humans left Earth when they still had room to grow." "So?" Veltar asked. So they are not running away from their world, Do-Hyun explained. They are hunting, looking for new challenges, new things to conquer. This thought made all the aliens uncomfortable. The medical bay doors opened. Bin-Woo walked out with clean bandages covering his cuts. He moved slowly, but his eyes were still bright and alert. How do you feel? Veltar asked. Tired, Bin-Woo said honestly. But good. We learned a lot today. Learned? Quindal's voice went very high. That creature nearly killed us all. But it did not, Bin-Woo pointed out. And now we know it can be stopped. We know its weaknesses. That information will save lives. You could have died, Morgeth said. Why did you take such a risk? Bin-Woo thought about this question. It was hard to explain to aliens who came from safe worlds. On Earth, he said finally, everything tried to kill us. The weather, the animals, the diseases, even the plants. Most species would have given up and died out. But humans are stubborn. We do not know how to quit. But surely you were afraid, Veltar said. How did you stay so calm? Bin-Woo smiled a little. I was afraid. Fear keeps you alive. But I was also excited. Excited? All the aliens stared at him. You have to understand, Bin-Woo said, that Void Stalker was the most dangerous predator any of us had ever seen. It was a perfect killing machine, and I got to figure out how to beat it. He looked at their shocked faces. Where I come from, we have a saying, the bigger they are, the harder they fall. That creature was very big, so it fell very hard. Nari walked up to the group. She had been dealing with the cleanup and her uniform had bloodstains on it. The body has been moved to cold storage, she reported. We will study it to learn more about the species. Study it? Quindal asked. Why would we want to study that thing more? Because knowledge is power, Nari said. The more we understand about creatures like that, the better we can protect people from them. She looked at Bin-Woo with something like pride. Besides, now we know they can be killed. That changes everything. Commander Veltar stood up carefully. His injuries were still painful. I need to make a report to the Galactic Council, but I am not sure what to tell them. Tell them the truth, Bin-Woo said. Tell them that Void Stalkers are dangerous, but not impossible to fight. Is that the only truth I should tell them? Bin-Woo looked at the commander for a long moment. He could see the real question in the alien's eyes. You want to know what humans really are? Bin-Woo said. Yes. Bin-Woo walked over to a window that showed the stars outside. The ship was moving through deep space, far from any planet. Out there in the darkness were millions of worlds with millions of different creatures. We are what happens when prey animals refuse to be prey, Bin-Woo said. We are what happens when a species decides that being weak is not good enough. He turned back to the aliens. Every species you have shown me in your databases, I can tell you exactly how my ancestors would have hunted them. Not with advanced weapons or technology, just with patience, intelligence, and the refusal to give up. Morgeth's translator made strange sounds as it tried to process this information. But humans seem so peaceful, so civilized. We are, Bin-Woo said. That is what makes us dangerous. We learn to work together. We learn to share knowledge. We learn to care about others of our kind. He gestured toward Nari and Do-Hyun. Alone, each human is just a clever animal with good hands. But together we can solve any problem, survive any threat, overcome any obstacle. Even Void Stalkers. Nari added with a small smile. Veltar's scales had turned a deep green color. In his species, that meant he was thinking very hard about something important. "We have been classifying humans wrong in our databases," he said, slowly. "We listed you as intelligent prey species. But that is not correct, is it?" "No," Binwu said. "It is not." "What should we list you as?" Binwu looked out at the stars again. Somewhere out there were other creatures like the Void Stalker. Other perfect predators who thought nothing could challenge them. "Persistence hunters," Binwu said. "Apex persistence hunters." Do-hyun nodded. "We do not give up. Ever. That is what makes us human." Quindal finally understood. Her shell stopped, leaking, and her color changed to the deep blue that meant acceptance of new truth. "You are predators," she said. "You have always been predators, but you hide it behind kindness and science and civilization." "We do not hide it," Binwu corrected gently. "We control it. We point it at things that deserve to be hunted. Things like Void Stalkers." "And if something threatens your pack," Veltar said, "then it learns why humans survived when bigger, stronger things did not." Nari finished. The group stood quietly for a while, thinking about what this meant. The galaxy was full of dangerous creatures and hostile species, but now they knew that humans were not the defenseless allies they had thought. Humans were something much more useful and much more frightening. "I will update our files," Morgeth said finally. "Under human classification, I will write Apex Persistence Predator. Approach with extreme caution. Do not underestimate based on physical appearance." "That sounds about right," Binwu said. "Is there anything else we should know?" Veltar asked. Nari grinned, showing her white teeth. "Wait until you see what happens when we are actually angry." The aliens looked at each other with new understanding. They had thought humans were weak creatures who needed protection. Now they realized that humans were the protection. "I think," Veltar said carefully, "we should be very glad that humans like us." "Yes," Binwu agreed. "You should be." As the group broke up and went back to their duties, none of them noticed Do-hyun quietly updating the ship's emergency protocols. Under threat response procedures, he added a new line. "In case of extreme danger, wake up the humans." Some knowledge, he thought, was too important to leave in files that might be overlooked. The next time something tried to hurt his alien crewmates, they would know exactly who to call. After all, humans were very good at solving problems, even the problems that seemed impossible to solve. They just needed to be asked nicely.